Peace and welcome. Welcome to a new week. So, collectively, we are all under the Four of Spades week this week, which started yesterday, Monday, October 20th, and will go until Sunday, October 26th. So, what can we expect with a Four of Spades energy? Well, let's look at it from the plate. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see it better. Now, the Four of Spades sits here. Okay. So this is Jupiter, right? And this is Venus. So ideally, two very beneficial energies, right? You got Jupiter, you got expansion, you got travel, higher learning, blessings, good luck. And you got Venus, relationships, aesthetics, a second house, money, etc. And we had a new moon in Libra today, which is also that relationship energy, seventh house. So definitely could be a focus on relationships that make us feel safe or bring stability, because those are going to be common themes with that four energy. Now, the Four of Spades, they call it like the solid card, a card of being protected, a card of being stable, but it's also about building something strong. So this could be a very good week for like building your body, building your mind, building your emotional security, and feeling protected, right? Because that is essentially the essence of this Four of Spades, is that stability, that solidness. They're like the rock to their family sometimes. So if you know a Four of Spades, they tend to be that energy that people like to lean on to kind of like come to get more safety, stability, protection, etc. So, a lot of those themes can kind of show up this week under this Four of Spades. Now, when we look at spades, this is about our work, our health, our spirituality. So, where can we get more solid in those areas? Again, maybe taking better care of yourself this week, getting prepared for the more cooler months that are coming. So, like taking your supplements or doing the things that you do that make you feel stronger, that make you feel more solid in who you are, how you look, how you feel, how you think, etc. So let's look at the Four of Spades spread, and we'll go through all the cards that the Four of Spades has so we can just have an understanding of what this energy can play out. So like I said, it does sit Jupiter, Venus, so off the rip can be a very beneficial energy. Now their Mercury card, their first card, is the Ten of Hearts, and we know with the tens, they're big, right? They definitely can do well with audiences, with the crowds. And so for a spades, this could be a very good week of like putting something out there, something you've been working on, something you've been building, something that you've been really putting forth a lot of effort. With this Ten of Hearts and this Ten of Diamonds in Venus, this could do very well for attention, gaining an audience of some sort. Now, this also can make the Four of Spades like a performer type of card. They may love the stage, they may love the attention, but sometimes they can recluse because sometimes too much attention can be overwhelming. And having two tens off the rip as a Mercury and a Venus can be a lot in the limelight, a lot in the spotlight. And again, it can almost feel like a lot, there could be like where people come, to kind of get that stability, to get that strength, to get that, protection that the Four of Spades naturally kind of gives off. So anyways, a Ten of Hearts can be a card of family, networking, socializing. Again, if you have something, a product or a book or something you wanted to put out, this may be a very good week to do that. Because of the energy of those tens, this is good for maybe spending time with family, people you love, opening up your heart, giving love, receiving love, all of that. Then add the Ten of Diamonds as the Venus card. They may like to shop. You could spend a little money this week with that Ten of Diamonds and Venus. But again, another very strong card of like dealing with audiences, attention, business, having a good business sense, what works. Again, products, books, anything that you're working on, this would be very good for like putting it out there and maybe it being very well received from those audiences. And it's interesting too when we look, and I know I'm kind of jumping, But the cards that are in the same box or square that the Four of Spades is, the supporting karma card is a Four of Hearts. So it may require a little bit more effort to get out of some of that complacency that the fours can have, that stuckness, that rigidness, that stubbornness. But the challenging karma card is a Ten of Clubs. So when they kind of get things going and things building, it can actually grow. It can actually spread. It can actually be like a great card of like mass communications, mass messages, popularity, but it has to kind of get out of that complacent, stuck energy. And again, this could be being very close to home, very close to family. I've always said like the fours need to like sometimes take a different route to the store, go to a different store, go to somewhere that's out of your, little circle and explore. You never know what doors can open or who you could come in contact with when you just kind of take a different path, right? And kind of get out of the complacency, the monotonous of that four, and really expand your reach and open up and, increase the opportunity to, share your wisdom and your experience with others. That's a big part of those tens. Now, their Mars card for life is the Eight of Spades. So you typically find Four of Spades very strong physically, very driven with this Eight of Spades and Mars. And Eight of Spades and Mars is next to like the Ace of Spades. They're like the most powerful cards you can have in Mars because it's a lot of will, a lot of determination, being able to overcome obstacles, very health orientated, strong physically, mentally, emotionally. Sometimes though, this can come off as abrupt and forceful and bullyish and too like dominating and controlling. So just be mindful of that. But anything that you have a goal, you want to pursue, this will show you how strong you are. And it's just consistency with those eights, like not giving up, building something solid is going to come a lot from this Eight of Spades and Mars, to like be determined, to not let things stop you, and to push through. But really good for physical health, again, making the body, the mind stronger, working out, and not just starting one day and being like, oh, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. No, it's your consistency that will pay off, especially with that Eight of Spades in Mars. Now, their Jupiter card is the Ace of Hearts. So there is this like strong desire and passion that they have. There is this energy of wanting to be loved and having a lot of needs to be met. But again, like looking to self, not looking outside of self. The Ace of Hearts is like putting a fire inside, it ignites something inside of you, a passion, a purpose. It's the birth of something new. Yes, it can be a card of childbirth, but it doesn't always mean a whole baby is going to be born. It means you're birthing something you love, you're birthing a project, a passion, a purpose. And because it's in Jupiter, it can really take off. It can really go far. It can really have a lot of longevity there, and it is very, the aces are very strong of self, like loving self, meeting self needs, not maybe looking for the attention of others, and really showing up for yourself, doing the things that you love would be very beneficial. And then Saturn is also an ace, the Ace of Diamonds. And whenever there's an ace in Saturn, the purpose is to kind of put the finger back to self. Like you are the builder, you Bob the Builder. You are the the source, the plug. You have to kind of be self-motivated, self-driven, self-talk, self-worth, self-reliant. Like if you want to create that stability, you have to build it within yourself first. You have to see your worth. You have to see your value. And yes, it may require more discipline, more effort, more responsibility to get something up and going. But remember, Saturn will crystallize. Saturn is for the long haul. So if you just put forth an effort, every single, chip away at it, you really are going to build something strong and solid with this energy. So look at yourself. What can you make stronger? How can you, reevaluate the things you've started? Have you been consistent with them, or have you let them fall to the side? Maybe like pick back up this week to create that stability. And any new projects, again, don't give up. Just keep, it's all about the consistency and the effort with this energy. Now, their Uranus card is the Queen of Diamonds. So money can come in suddenly out of the blue. This can also make them very generous. This could be a little bit of compulsive spending, or, this also can bring financial gains suddenly out of the blue, doing any humanitarian work, technology, being of service, trusting your intuition. Like all of those are part of that queen, but also being receptive, allowing, trusting that sense of business, what works for business, what doesn't work, a good deal, marketing. Again, with these tens and this Queen of Diamonds, like their ability for business, their ability to market is phenomenal. So again, if you're in business or you have something you've been working on, this could be a very solid week to kind of like really put forth the effort and watch it grow, watch it expand, right? Now, the Neptune is the Five of Hearts. So this is kind of good for kind of getting out of the stuck, go travel, explore, meet new people. Again, maybe take a different path this week. This, if you go to the same grocery store in the same place, maybe, change it up a little bit and explore, open up that heart with that Five of Hearts. Now, be careful of ghosting and not, responding. Sometimes you can see that with those fives, but really just allowing things, being more fluid, not getting too stuck, not getting too rigid. Even though it's a great card for like that solid and stability, you gotta be open to the flow of things too, because sometimes things can change, right? Now, and again, travel, exploring, kind of being that gypsy is a big part of that Five of Hearts. Now, their Pluto card, the Four of Spades, Pluto card this week is a Three of Clubs. Now, this one can be a little bit intense. Whenever there's a 3 in Pluto, it's like where we can kind of feel like we're divided or we're at a crossroads and we have to make a decision. And again, kind of going back to those aces, when you trust yourself, when you trust that first impulse, you don't backpedal and you go on that instinct, follow it. Like, don't like be like, because that's sometimes those threes, like, what am I doing here? Tap into the creative mind that the Three of Clubs brings. Tap into the variety. Don't get too stuck and too complacent and too, the same old, same old. Look to what you can like really create, explore, open up to new avenues, open up to new ideas, new conversations, new thoughts, new people, etc. We have a new moon. So it's really good to plant those new seeds that, can really flourish us, that really can grow to something even, more than what we're accustomed to, right? So be open to experiment. The biggest thing is to not let this cause stress, worry, overthinking, indecisiveness. That's the low side. It's like you're teetering on a fence. Make the choice, follow through. Don't get stuck. Just do it. And again, if that door shuts, the beauty of the threes is there's probably 3 other doors you can walk through, and that leads me to the reward card, the Three of Spades. So it is very much about taking a risk and trying something different and trying something new instead of just the same old, same old, same old, same old. I understand there's comfort with that. I understand that, we want, we like this structure. Don't get me wrong. It's a welcomed energy, but we want to be able to kind of like see the options, see the path, see what we can create. And when you really tap into this inner artist, the options and the opportunities can be immense because threes are ruled by Jupiter. They want to give us more. They're abundant. So we have to really tap into the abundance of these threes and not the worry and the stress and the indecisiveness of those threes, because you never know the opportunities that can come when you kind of unstick yourself and open up to more. Just watch the stress, especially with the spade energy. Watch your health, watch the worry, etc. Now, the cosmic lesson to this Four of Spades is the Nine of Hearts. So, very much about giving love. I find that they can be great counselors, great therapists. They're very generous, again, with that loving energy. Remember, this is universal love, agape love, a giver of love. And it's like you're not attached, you flow, and it's like giving from the overflow, though, not giving from the empty cup and draining yourself, but giving from the overflow because you've taken care of yourself. You've poured into yourself, Ace of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, and now you can give to others from that overflow and it not be like you're draining And also, having boundaries, knowing when to say no, because again, a lot of times the four of spades can be like the rock in the family, the solid one. And so a lot of people may come to them, and yes, if you want to give, but don't drain yourself. Don't put yourself in a compromising situation to save others. Have those boundaries. Make sure you really, if you can do it, great. If you can't, it's okay to say no. Now, their cosmic moon is a 7 of clubs. And I find it really interesting that their Pluto is a 3 of clubs, and then the cosmic moon is the 7 of clubs. So there could be like an inner dialogue of worry, of stress, of not being present. Like, this is like what, you're waiting for the shoe to fall off. You're waiting for the crumble, but here's the thing. You're either you can create it, or you can, have faith that even if it is kind of like falling apart, it's actually so that you can, build it back better, which sounds so like politicianish, but whatever. Anyways, a 7 of clubs as a cosmic moon, their emotional state can kind of fluctuate. And it is very important for them to be mindful of the words that they speak, especially of how they feel, speaking life, alchemizing those thoughts and those emotions. This may be very good for talk therapy, being able to kind of get out a lot of the maybe uncomfortable words or emotions. And again, just making sure you're staying present. You're not worried about stuff that hasn't happened yet, or you're worried about stuff that already has happened, which all takes you out of the now, all takes you out of that present moment. With the 7 of clubs, having faith, this again can make them a very, an energy of, again, like people could come to them for, counseling, relief, but like, are they also taking their own advice? Are they listening, to the things that they say to others? Are they really applying it to themselves? And again, just kind of watching that emotional fluctuation that can happen and causing that sometimes spiral that those 7s can have. Because remember, the moon card, or the other card, the supporting card, is the 6 of diamonds. So there is a lot of like complaint, again, when I see 6s and 7s, this is very much about you get back what you put out. So if you're operating from a space of lack and fear and negativity, well, that's what you're going to get in return. That 6 of diamonds is supporting them, like being responsible, realizing again, with 6s starts at the top, goes back down and into itself. So they don't like what's showing up. They have, make those internal adjustments, right? It's also a very strong card of being responsible financially, making sure things are balanced and even, etc. Now, their transformation card is a 5 of diamonds. And I find it interesting that they transform into a 5, because I think actually the 4 of clubs transforms into a 5. I think no, they don't transform into 5s, but either way, 2 of them do. And so it does behoove them to, again, open up. Change is not punishment. Change is how you grow. Change is how you have more. Change is how you flow, right? Changes can be uncomfortable for some 4s, because again, it requires to come out of that monotonous, same old, and do something different. But you never know where that path can take you. You never know when you open up to different opportunities, different experiences, where you may end up, right? You transform into a 5 of diamonds. It's teaching you to be fluid. It's teaching you to go with the flow, to allow, to not be so stuck and so rigid that you never enhance or grow or change. And that's the 5 of diamonds, like being able to move with the waves, ride the waves, so it's really so that you can have more freedom, more opportunity, more success, because again, you have a very successful path with most of your cards sitting here in Jupiter, and the opportunity for, even like stardom, celebrity, big energy. So be open to change, be open, be flexible, be able to kind of move when things start to change. Don't let that cause worry and stress. Again, it can actually open up for new opportunities, new relationships, new people, everything. So it is very much about that energy with this 4s, because again, the low side, it can be complacent and stuck, but the high side, it's like their effort. You're building something solid, and just be flexible is going to be key this week. So, and I talked about the supporting karma card, the karma cards, or the supporting karma card and the challenging karma card, the six of diamonds pushing it, and then the card that is above it, the crowning card, is the king of diamonds. So they really do and can have a lot of success, but this is going to require that maturity, that mastery, that ability to make decisions, great in business. And when they really wear that crown, there's really no stopping them. They can really and be successful in multiple different things, build multiple different businesses. And again, as long as they're open and they don't, you got to be careful of this inside voice inside the head, and the worry, and the not trusting themselves, and really seeing that they're pretty solid and they know what they're doing. And it's just really trusting that instinct and not second guessing themselves and kind of teetering on that fence and pulling the trigger, if you will, on the project or on the opportunity, and not backpedaling it and then being like, dang, I wish I would have done that. That's the low side of that energy. So enjoy this solid energy as we move through the remainder part of the year. We're going to be in the 5 of spades, 6 of spades, 7 of spades. This is a good week to get strong, to get physical, to really tap into that 8 of spades and Mars. Go after what you want. Just don't be too forceful. You don't have to control or dominate. It's power in itself. And it's showing you how powerful you are, right? And you don't have to push people out the way or bulldoze anybody. This is for you. This is for you to create stability. This is for you to be, that stable, that solid energy, and really setting your goals and doing what it takes and staying consistent. And you can watch how you can build something pretty strong, pretty solid, whether it's, again, emotions, money, physical, health, whatever. Great card for health, taking better care of yourself this week and really committing to it and not giving up. And watch, stay consistent. This time next year, I bet you'll be in a better position if you stayed consistent with it and you don't give up. You can change your whole body. You can change everything. So anyways, 5 of diamonds, right? And those 3s being open, trying something different, getting out of that complacency. So with that, I hope you enjoy this 4 of spades week. For me personally, this is my transformation card. And I always tell my clients, pay attention to the weeks that are every week is important, but there's going to be a week where this is your Mercury card, your transformation card, your Pluto card, whatever it is. And I usually do it by the life spread. You can look at your year as well and see, if I don't think I have the 4 of spades in my spread this year, but I do know it is my transformation card for life as the Jack of Hearts. And so it is an energy of especially for me, sometimes I can worry and overthink things. And I've always learned that wow, even I've always ended up solid. I've always ended up it's going to be okay. And so that's a really big part of that 4 of spades. Also taking better care of my health and really making myself stronger is so key for me. It helps me both mentally, physically, emotionally, all of it, because there's a lot of emotions here. And so having that physical outlet, that building strength is really good for me. So pay attention to each week is how is it connected to you? And I always say to my clients in my weekly readings and my yearly readings, what's showing up, what happened that week when that card is really connected to you. Pay attention in the most way that you can, because it can really give you insight to that energy, especially with it being a transformation card. How am I transforming this week? Where do I need transformation? Where can I get more solid? Where can I feel more safe, more protected, more secure with this 4 of spades? So it's really good to kind of connect it to you personally, and then really pay attention to what happens in that week. And it can give you a whole nother level and insight into that card and how it pertains to you. So with that, I hope this is a great week for you. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to my email list at thefulldeck.net, where I send out emails each week about the energy. I'll be live tonight on Tuesdays. I'm live on Instagram talking about the card of the week, and then always my new series, The Cards Behind the Crime, where I'm diving into cases and we're looking at it through the lens of the cards. I'll be posting more videos on that on this YouTube channel. And as always, I appreciate you. If you would like more insight into your cards, please reach out at guidedbythecards@gmail.com or at thefulldeck.net on my website, where you can see all the services that I offer. So enjoy this Four of Spades week, and I will talk to you next time. Peace.